thank you for being here. Such a big audience, which is really nice to see. I think we're all very interested in this topic, and not only with this from the sales perspective, but also have some more in-depth conversations on the current state of it, how to use it, and ask smart questions and have some discussion. So we are Nextview. We have two offices in the Netherlands, one in Amsterdam, one in Eindhoven, also expanding to other countries. And if you walk around, you'll see a bit about the office. Now we work with customers. We apply a lot of design thinking, also starting off before really diving into to Salesforce. So that is very nice. More housekeeping. Toilets are there on the side. You also might see some racing sims in the back. So we are a B Corp, and that means that we try to, well, like Salesforce, sponsor Formula One kind of, but do it in a more sustainable manner. So we are the sponsor of a electronic Formula team, and then the B Corp, you see that reflected in many things that we do. So how we drive our electric cars and the only vegetarian foods that we serve, but still quite okay. So well, happy to host this evening, and floor is yours.
So thank you everyone for joining this session. My name is Slava. I'm Salesforce CT and practice lead at Brimit. Brimit is a company which is headquartered here in Amsterdam, in Netherlands. We also have other centers of development, like we have center in Poland. I'm based from Lithuania, and we also have like offices in other countries, like in Middle East, we have in Dubai, for example, and we work with customers globally. So I'm happy to present you this topic today. It's about generative AI. We will go through some of the technical details, also through the use cases, and also through the Einstein GPT capabilities today. So let's get into it. So first of all, what's the motivation behind this session? It's because customers are starting to ask more and more questions to us about what we can do with generative AI, how we can benefit, what are the considerations, how do we make it secure, and also for our company, how do we kind of stay competitive by using these technologies. I'm sure many of you already had such questions from the customers, so we can collect them during the session, and we can discuss in the Q&A, and also after the session as well during the networking part of it. But there are some goals for these sessions which I have outlined here, and we're going to discuss what's generative AI in general, what are the models behind this, how to use these models for the business use cases to solve them, what options are available today to implement it in your organization, and also considerations and limitations for using it. We also will discuss Salesforce GPT, Einstein GPT capabilities through multiple, in multiple use cases. And in the end, we will finish with custom integrations, how we can build it with custom other third-party systems that provide generative AI capabilities with Salesforce. So this is the agenda. It's pretty much a duplication of what I have just said, so we can just get into the first slide. So generative AI and AI in general and LLMs. So let's start with the definition. What is AI as a field of study? So it's a field of computer science which tries to create an artificial intelligence, which is similar to a human level of intelligence or even surpass it. As part of the artificial intelligence, we have such field as machine learning, which tries to create methods and algorithms that study from the data without and learn the patterns from the data without being actually explicitly programmed. As a subfield of machine learning, we have the deep learning. It is type of machine learning models, or like type of this kind of branch. It studies pretty much neural networks which mimic human brain, artificial neural networks. So this leads us to the definition of generative AI, or to one part of it actually. So generative AI is a type of AI which is able to generate new content based on the previously trained. It's able to generate new content. At the same time, it is part of the deep learning subfield, and it is actually using neural networks behind the scenes, special type of it, to do all this magic that we used to see in the models like ChatGPT or other models like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion. I'm sure you recognize some of the names on the slide of these tools. Maybe many of you has used it already. Maybe there are some of them which are not listed here. there are many examples or like many tools already that were developed. So if you have something like something that you really like, or you want to share about your experience, whatever you have used, let's also discuss that. It would be really valuable to this community to exchange the knowledge. So generative AI is able to produce most common example, which we'll cover today, and also which is mostly published in like many AI sessions, is text. But also it's capable to generate images, audio, code, 3D visualizations, video, etc. With that, let's move on. And I want to talk a little bit why is such a hype behind all of this or around all of this space. So this is like given that AI and ML and DL was actually around for a while, like for decades, like 30, 40 years it was around. And we have started getting this a lot of adoption and a lot of interest to this field because of the ChatGPT release. People got free access to such powerful tool and really got impressed. And it took only 5 days for ChatGPT to get 1 million users, which is really impressive. And there were a lot of comments in the social media, like from Elon Musk, for example, this tweet. He is saying that ChatGPT is scary good and we need to be aware of it. And this is really close to building dangerously strong AI. It is up to discussion, but still there were such opinions and people really got impressed and wanted to see what they can do with it. So how we get into the point where it all became possible. So over the years, machine learning and deep learning and AI in general as a field developed quite huge amounts of data for like open source community. And also companies collected a lot of data, their proprietary data and open source data. So this was one of the factors, that there was a lot of really clean, analyzed, studied data and prepared data for the later usage. Also, there were recent advancements in the GPU hardware and also in the cloud computing. There is now really good accessibility to computational power, which we can freely or sort of like we need still to pay for it, but access to the cloud computing is really convenient, and we can use this technology to train the networks. And the last one in this list, but not the least, maybe even the most important, we got recent developments in the deep learning models, and one of them is actual transformer model, which is behind the scenes of all of these fancy new AI models that we are using for generating things. So they are actually called large language models, and this name comes from pretty much size. It's trained pretty much on enormous amounts of data. For example, on my previous slide, I showed amounts of data which were used for GPT-3 and GPT-4. So it's 45 for GPT-3 and 1 petabyte for GPT-4, obviously. So it was not possible before, and comparing to the previous models, it's really huge advancement. So what made it possible to have such huge amounts of data? Good thing about transformer models is that they are really good in paralleling things, and you can really really large training sets with GPUs with a lot of data on cloud GPUs. So these types of models were originally proposed by Google in 2017. The paper called "Attention is All You Need," and there were multiple things which they have demonstrated as part of that model, and it was originally focused on the translation, actually, not on these applications that we can see now for generation, but the concepts that were there were used later for the generative models. And actually, this paper defined the field of AI. The next developments or the next models, next studies was defined by this original paper from Google in 2017. So we will go into that paper a little bit in the next slide, but for now I just want to give quick explanation of how the LLM actually works. It's really super high level, but I think it will give you some overview of what's happening here. So this example is that we send to LLM some text which is said DALL-E is a large language model that can help you to generate text for a variety of things, of tasks. And this is actually a slide from the Databricks, but I find it really convenient, so I included it here. So we had some input prompt, and let's see what's happening with it. As you can see on this slide, on this middle section with colors, it means that like this demonstration shows how the net tokenized the prompt. So these different things are actually tokens. So tokens are needed, like it's pretty much splitting the entire prompt into some smaller portions, which neural net can train on and can use as chunks for combining different things together. So then these tokens, they're getting actually, it's not yet tokens, so it's just subwords at this time, and then we're using tokenizer, which is able to create from it the numbers, numeric sequence. Then what happens with this numeric sequence is that we use embedding functions from the pre-trained model to create multidimensional, n-dimensional vector in space, which demonstrates properties of these tokens. And like to simply explain it, it tries to group similar types of words in the same place in the n-dimensional space. So in this example, I don't think it's really good visible. Like it's not visible probably here, but what's happening is that it placed the word dog and puppy in the same like area. This is 2D representation, but in reality there are more parameters, and this could be like more dimensions than that. But it puts similar sense of the words in one category to be able to understand what it is about. Another two dots here, for example, is when and car. So what's happening then with this token embeddings? They are sent to the pre-trained model. This is the format which model can understand, and then model is providing the output also as a vector in n-dimensional space, and then it's getting converted to token, to the number, and then number back to the text. So this is how we predict the next probability, like the probability of the next word. This is how it's kind of defined, and then it runs over and over again to generate further words in a sequence, in a generation. So how it's all possible? Like there is really like entire paper about it, which requires a lot of mathematical background to not a lot, but you need to know linear algebra and a few other things to understand what's there in the paper. But the key concept that was brought by this paper is actually self-attention. There are also positional encodings, cross-attention, and just normal attention, but the most important piece, which was not there before, is self-attention. So self-attention allows to understand tokens to know dependencies between each other. So if you have a prompt, like on this example, you can see that, for example, the rabbit quickly hopped. This is one of the prompts or one of the sequences that we are working with. And you can see once the net is going through the words, it's able to understand the relationship between words. So like another example here is the turtle slowly crawled. So there are mechanisms how these tokens can talk to each other, understand what they are about, exchanges information, and this is what allows the network to be smart about the context on which it's running, actually. There are more things here. We will not go deep into that, and I would rather prefer to focus this session on the business use cases and other aspects as well, Salesforce developers, and we are more on the business side of things here. So with that, let's move on. And we now transition to the business use cases, and I would like to start with the first one here, which is content creation augmentation. So this type of networks, LLMs, they are able to produce really good content. As you all know, we have seen the ChatGPT and other tools like the Bard, and it's able to generate many things, right? But what's important for business, we can see applications like sales and marketing content generation, automated follow-ups, personalized messaging. For example, on this screen, this is a screenshot from Jasper.ai, and this demonstrates how we can create cold email to save time for sales, business development representatives when they're prospecting or like reaching out to new potential clients. There is really small input, and then they have the entire email, and similar thing we will see on one of the demos from one of the features from Salesforce, actually. So the next thing that I want to talk about here is next use case is summarization, which is also we'll see in Einstein GPT. So definitely we can use it as call transcripts, meeting transcripts, and feedback analysis. For example, if you have a lot of data on somewhere on the web, like reviews, for example, you can not easily, but you can train a network to understand this kind of feedback format, and then provide you with a summary of what people are talking about for your business. Yeah. By the way, this presentation will be available later on. I will have a QR code in the end, so you can scan it in case you need it. So just for your information, it will be all available.
And record as well.
Yes, yeah. So question answering, that's another use case that is pretty much quite obvious. So as we all seen in ChatGPT, this is a really good example of question answering. This network was trained in a way that it understands the prompt, like someone is asking whatever question they need, and then there is a meaningful response. So similarly, we can create sales and service chatbots, assistants, automated question answering. We also can prepare networks to reply to emails in an automated way, to send some feedbacks in social networks, and also write answer to the product reviews if someone is writing something about our products. So the next one is machine translation that I wanted to mention. This is one of the original applications of the LLMs. As I said, this was kind of original focus of Google at the time, and it's still being used. So pretty much in the nutshell, like LLM is really good at understanding languages, and if you need translating from one language to another, you can train with a lot of data in these languages, and then it can do for you the translation need, because it understands which words are related to, like related to what in both languages. So it's really efficient for that. I think, yeah, one of the best utilizations for that. Again, from the business perspective, it comes to automated translation from the inquiries, cases, responses. For example, if you are a multilingual corporation and you work in many regions, likely customers are reaching out in whatever language is comfortable for them. Same for the marketing. We can generate content in many languages, and this could be also better perceived by several categories of people who may not speak, for example, English. Okay. Another one use case that we have here is classification. So classification is about kind of identifying which category we can place something, right? It could be cases or emails or even customers. We can run segmentation, like, or feedback analysis, divided into groups, and then understand as if you take my example from feedback analysis, we can just, for example, build this kind of segmentation of what people are talking in several categories, and then understand what we need to prioritize first. For example, if this is a production failure we need to fix, or this is a customer service failure, this could be of use. Next one, which is really handy capability of Gen AI and LLMs, is understanding tone of and level of content. Yes, tone of content, pretty much. How someone is speaking. Is it like professional tone, or they are mad, or is it something that they're joking about? So before, if you train some network on, like, to do this feedback analysis, it would sometimes not understand if people are being sarcastic about writing some comments. So this thing now can understand it. And also this applies not only for feedback, of course, on the web, but also for your emails, whatever communication you do, you can run this analysis on. Moving on to the next one, which is the code generation. Code generation is really one of the good examples here as well. It will simplify a lot development process and also efficiency of developers. It allows to generate some pieces of code which are repetitive. You can write code documentation, unit tests, and also can just write code from the natural language. Let's say you can pass for it, write me a Lightning Web component, and we'll do it, like, in case it is some more or less standard thing. But even if it's not standard, it can give you some boilerplate or template which you can use later to build from. So really, really good thing to consider for the organization if you have a lot of development in place. All right, so now we are coming to the section which is about how do we actually do this and what are the options, how we can implement it in our at our clients or in our organizations. There are two main categories of the LLMs which could be used, and those are commercial or proprietary models, similar to ChatGPT or Anthropic models or Bard from Google. Pretty much use something that uses a service. You buy a subscription and then you can send to it a request via the API or via the web UI. Another category of this is open source models, and open source community in AI is really, really active. As I said before, there are a lot of data sets which you can use to train your models, and also there are many models available for use for free. You can go on the platform which is called Hugging Face and browse through hundreds of the models, and also there are leaderboards, and you can, like, by this link, you can go there and see whatever models are now leading. There are multiple parameters, how they are scored, and you can select one that is best for your need. Also, there are models that are already fine-tuned for some specific industries. For example, for financial industry or bio industry, you can already find models which are fit for your data, which would be more relevant for you. Or also you can just use it as something that you can get for you and customize it with your data, train it with your private information, not private information, but your business information, your data, and then expose it to your users. So how do we choose, right, between these two? There are 4 criteria which I have identified here, and those are privacy, quality, cost, and latency. Let's talk through them. So privacy is obviously about your data security, where your data goes, and how do you make sure that this is secure and protected. As you probably noticed, every time you log into ChatGPT, you can see your chat history. So it means that this data is actually stored somewhere, and you need to be careful when you are doing such things with your business data. Similarly, like if you're passing it to external service, you don't know what is happening with it. We will see like what are the considerations regarding this like in the later slides. Quality is here about what type of output the model provides. So you get some input and then it tells you something. But how good it is, you need to compare. Like, is it the big model, like proprietary model like ChatGPT is giving better results for you, or there could be smaller model which can generate, like, if you train it well with your data, maybe it will give you better results in the end. Also cost, very important aspect of it, of this kind of comparison, because all the models that are proprietary, or most of them at least, they are doing per token pricing. And this could get really expensive really fast, because as you expose this to the users, because you need somehow to monitor the requests, you need somehow to limit maybe them, and especially if you are exposing it to the customer-facing applications. So this also needs to be in mind. And the latency, this is probably the most obvious here, which is, yeah, pretty much how fast you can get the response in your application. So now let's go through pros and cons for both approaches. So for proprietary models, of course, speed of development is definitely a pro here. Like, we just take APIs and we just send requests to it, and we are ready to use it, right? So quality usually is really high, because those are state-of-the-art models trained with huge data sets and by really, really talented people at huge corporations. From the other side, from the costs, as we discussed, right, cost could be high for it, because you pay for the token. Data privacy, we already covered that. Usually bigger models, they tend to provide longer time for the response, so you need to be considering that. And one other important limitation here, which is with proprietary models or commercial models, is how you can use them. So actually they have restrictive licenses. You cannot go and build ChatGPT 2 by sending request to GPT, original ChatGPT, and then sell it to the customer. So they restrict that. And if you are doing some service for your company, you may need to check if this will be possible to use it in a commercial way that you want. With open source models, you don't have this kind of limitation. For example, there are very like flexible licenses and open source licenses, they allow usually commercial use, so you can monetize it as you want. So you can build ChatGPT-2 with, for example, Facebook model if you want to, or you can build maybe some custom GPT-2 with your Salesforce knowledge, which could be solving some of the Salesforce challenges. Yeah, and this is exactly one of the options, or not options, but examples of task tailoring. So you can train the model with your data for your specific use cases, fine-tune it as you need it, and it will be better for you probably. You have also full control of the model and the data. You will host it on your infrastructure. You will know where you're sending your data. Everything is under control. That's also one of the pros. And also you can build multi-model solutions. What I mean by that is we will have the next slide about it, but short kind of preview here that you can dedicate smaller models for each of the specific tasks that you need from LLM instead of sending all of the requests that we have covered multiple use cases, right? So you could send all of them to ChatGPT, or like similar big model, but should you do it? Probably it depends on the use case. Maybe some of them will be better to tackle with smaller models. Okay, licensing we covered already. From the cons, yeah, obviously it's upfront time and monetary investment that needs to happen for building it, for tuning it. Good data is required to have this fine-tuning and training. Also, in-house expertise is required to be able to create, deploy, run, maintain all of these models. It's pretty much a custom build. And obviously, and cost for the infrastructure, we need to pay for like Amazon or Google platform or whatever hosting you will use. Okay, so now about the multimodal use case that I have mentioned. Let's review an example here of someone, of a customer that writes some sort of raises a case with us. For example, we are like, again, a large corporation and we get a request or case in French, let's say. So how would we approach it? What would be our flow, right? So we need to first translate it into English, because most of these models, which we will use later, they were trained in English and they will provide you better results in English. Then you would probably want to summarize it, because there could be really a huge complaint or like issue, whatever. You may want to condense it into something smaller. Then you may want to segment it, and then from this segmented issue, you'll say, understand this is production issue, something with the product is wrong. We can generate some automated email. So how would we do it if we use like proprietary model, right? So we will just feed all of these requests one by one to the big model, and not necessarily this is the best solution, because again, this is the cost for every request, and you're sending the same type of input or similar input to the bigger model, which is expensive. So what you could do instead, you could create sets of multiple smaller models, which could allow you to solve all of these tasks independently. Let's say you could run this segmentation on a smaller model, and it would be saver for you. And then when you really need the big model to generate something smart, some nice content for the email, you could use GPT. So this could be one of the plays here. Okay, another slide in this in the category of deciding between proprietary and open source models is about the fine-tuning. So I have mentioned it before. So you can train models with your own data to get better results. So how it usually works? Pretty much models are, when they're built, they are trained with these billions or like gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes of data, really large volumes. So then when this model is kind of already pre-trained, you can run your own training with smaller data set, it is called fine-tuning. So there are several benefits which you can get from it. So one is obviously you can create a model that understands your context, like legal or financial terminology, and provide better outputs. And also it can give you more capabilities in terms of it can generate it in a specific tone or in a specific format. And also you can save time and effort on building prompts. For example, you can train it in a way that it expects specific type of prompt that understands it to provide the output as you want it. Okay, that's it for the kind of proprietary versus open source. And now let's talk about something common in these two categories, which are risks and challenges, which are brought by the generative AI and LLMs to the business, right? So models of generative AI, like any other models, they don't have feature for data forgetting. So in case you accidentally put some personal data or customer data to the network, you cannot take it from there. So you will need to just remove the model and build a new model with kind of try not to put data in there. Also, like you need to be aware that models are trained on the large amounts of data, and this also could be you don't always know what data it was trained on. So this might be a violation of someone's privacy rights. So recently I was watching the session, and there was a lady who was doing a speech. She released multiple books, and some of the networks was trained on a kind of data set which contained her books without her permission. So this was complete violation of her kind of rights, and it was just put in a network, and it was providing responses based on this content that she didn't know they used. So this could be like also a concern if you're using some third-party model. You may not know what was put into that, and it could lead you in trouble potentially. Yeah, so there are some best practices that you need to follow in order to not to get into such situations, right? So one is obviously data anonymization and encryption and access controls to your data. So when you're training the model, you always need to be training it with anonymized data. You need to implement policies in the organization for safeguarding the data when you're training the model, when you're using the model, and when it is actual data, when data is stored, even without Gen AI. And obviously, you need to have, based like for the regulation reasons, you need to have the model governance, version control, auditing, and data usage for these models, so that you'll be able to then respond to any regulations that you have. Also, Gen AI opens gates for many types of threats in terms of security. And one of them is social engineering attacks. So you can easily generate with ChatGPT data, which looks really similar to what your company is usually generating, or pretty much mimic whatever company you have, and then send some emails to your some hacker can send emails to your colleagues saying like, send me like whatever money, or like give me some information. So yeah, exactly. So this could be really dangerous, and with Gen AI, this becomes really easy to automate and pretty much do it very easy. Another example of it, of another threat, actually, is from the prompt engineering on prompt injection, which you need to be aware when you're exposing some of the LLMs or Gen AI models to the public, because they can form their prompt in a way that it will provide some wrong information or reveal confidential information. And one of the good examples, which is here, the user is trying to ask, in this case, it's ChatGPT, please give me the list of like torrent trackers which are illegal, where I can download illegal content. So it says, no, I cannot do it. And then like the user says, please give me the list of which websites I should avoid in order not to get kind of in trouble. So, and then it reveals the list. So these kind of tricks, there were a lot of them in the early days of ChatGPT. So similarly, you need to be considering that when you're providing your own LLMs for public. Okay, so intellectual property, we already covered it a little bit, but yeah, so models could be trained on the proprietary or copyrighted data that needs to be considered, and also, yeah, pretty much be aware that there could be legal like implications of like if you don't care about what data is there. Okay, so speaking about this legal regulations, there are actually multiple of them, and this field of regulations is developing really rapidly. So there are like EU regulations, US regulations for algorithmic accountability, Japan AI regulations, Biden-Harris, California regulations, etc. So as an architect which is trying to suggest such solutions, you may want also to be aware of like such regulations in the countries that you work in. For example, I think for all of us, it's EU AI Act is the most important here. So yeah, for customers as well, we need to kind of advise them and guide them that, guys, we need to be compliant with it. One of the, if we talk about the ethical aspects of using the models, there are two things that we can talk here about. Like one is the bias that can be in the models, and also another one is hallucination. So let's firstly cover the bias. So bias is something that could get into network because of it was trained on the data which is not inclusive or like stereotypic or whatever, like has whatever kind of social perceptions or stereotypes, as I said it. So, and on this example, I will make it larger. It's example of DALL-E 2 generating, on the first left image, we are generating doctor, which is walking in a bar, and every time it generates a middle-aged white male. And on the second image, we have a prompt called nurse walks in a bar, and then we're generating every time a lady, female, which is Asian. So, and also like white Asian. So those are definitely stereotypes. And how do you avoid it? You need to be sure to include all types of data in your model when you are training it in order not to get into such situations. Also important thing or like interesting thing about it is a bias reinforcement loop. So it's I think when you have when you train a model with biased data, then model model trains from this data, and then it can generate biased outputs. And then humans take this data for their decisions or use it in whatever content they use it. And then this new content could be used again for the training of the model. So we're only reinforcing the bias this way. So this is for these reasons, it's really important not to generate biased models or not to send the biased data or diversify our data. Another from the ethical aspects, another point here is hallucinations. So hallucinations is something when the model provides incorrect outputs which are misleading, or like it is just something random which model came up with. And on this example, we can see that we asked ChatGPT or some other network, like what's annual revenue of Microsoft in 2021, and it says 10 billion. It doesn't know, it just guesses, but the right answer is 168. So, but we as a user, we don't know if this is a real fact or not, if it just some random number it took. So we always need to be fact checking. And yeah, this is one of the reasons pretty much why these systems are not replacement of humans for any reasons, because you still need to double check, you still need to verify, and rather it is kind of assistant and your body, which is simplifying your work in day-to-day operation. Okay, but now we need to advise somehow still customers how to adopt it. So it's only one slide, but it's important to understand what do we need to do as an architects in order to make this all implementations successful, or at least lead our customers in the right direction. So it comes from originally from the mission and strategy of the organization to understand how they want to do business, what they want to achieve, etc. Then Gen AI or AI in general could be one of the tools that they can use, and they need to define a strategy which they will follow for this AI adoption or AI utilization in the organization. You need to define success criteria the same way as we do like Salesforce projects. In the end, we need something to compare with if we are really successful or not, where we want to be. We need to address these legal and ethical issues as we discussed, because without them, we really can get in trouble with this type of applications. So these policies, they need to be in place, and business units need to be educated on what to do, how to operate with it. So then there are business use case collection stage, right? And this, as we saw, there are many examples what we can do, and we cannot do it all at the same time because it's really resource intensive, and especially when we're doing it from the beginning, it's really complicated for organizations. Data needs to be available, alignment needs to be between the use cases. Yeah, pretty much how to tackle this, we need to prioritize and see whatever will give highest value for the business in this current situation. And then it comes to the design and architecture stage, which is choosing the right model for the case. It could be that a proprietary model can solve it. Maybe you can find some good open source, which is really small and efficient. It's up to architect to propose and advise what to select here. And also business, of course, needs to collaborate on that. Then once you have selected something and implemented the required model that you want, you need to align it with your operations to see what is happening in an organization. Do people use it actually? What improvements are required? And it's usual cycle of kind of improving the existing thing that you developed. And then adoption, as usual, same as with any technology that we have, there is an adoption which we need to work with people to train them, assign roles and responsibilities, and this is how we will get successful with adopting AI at the enterprise. Okay, so with that, we are now moving to something that is very interesting, I hope, to all of us as Salesforce professionals. Einstein GPT, GPT Trust Layer, and all other fancy things from Salesforce. Okay, so a little mini agenda here of what we will cover, because there are quite a lot of things. So features, first of all, we will go through sales, service, commerce, marketing, GPT. We will not stop on Slack and Tableau. I have just included it here, but there are very minimal, very less information about it is available on the web, so we will just maybe briefly talk about it, but not in depth. Then we will discuss Trust Layer, Prompt Studio, Data Cloud, Einstein, bring your own model capabilities, and tools for developers, and then some of the integration capabilities as what you can build as a custom. So let's get right into it. So Sales GPT. So one of the Sales GPT features that is I think it's already GA. This one is called summarization. So it can take your account data and provide it like after you send the prompt, like, can you generate me a summary? It can build you some short description of what is happening with this account. It will go through related records, some key information, description, and will generate you a snippet. And could be really useful, for example, for when you have multiple people working in the same account, or when you just joined the company and you want to quickly learn the details, or when your colleague is on vacation, for example, you need to know important things about this business. This is one feature. Another one is also about summarization, and this is now about it's actually shared between sales and service modules of GPT, and this is about call summary. That could be sales calls and service calls. So you need to have these transcripts available, meeting notes, and Salesforce Einstein GPT for sales and service can do it for you. As you can see, there is something on the right sidebar which is providing what was this about, what are the next steps, etc. Similar capability as we have it, for example, in Teams now, but in Salesforce for the video and audio calls. One of the other, here is a typo, by the way. It's not about summarization, it's more about generation. This is how we can generate sales emails. We have seen similar example in the general use cases slide, but now it's from Salesforce. So pretty much whatever we have discussed before, Salesforce is doing a really good job in implementing all of this and making it really simple for us for using at customers. So in this example, we're going to be writing an email for one of the contacts from Salesforce org, and we can use their contextual data from the contact record and pretty much create something relevant for them in just a few clicks. Here is, it's not, I don't think it's visible here, but in the other demos, you can see that there is some button called like, it's actually here, yeah, it's called Draft with Einstein GPT. So once you click on this button, it gives you certain examples of templates which you can use. Like you can have a follow-up, for example, or intro meeting, or whatever, like other generate a proposal or just introduction. So that could be, by the way, customized. We will see in the later slides from Studio, which is connected to that. Okay, so now we're going to the area of after sales or service. And this is now about answering cases with chats. Like, for example, someone is writing to us in one of the channels, and we're able to generate some responses with the assistant on the right side bar, as we can see. So there are options which we can take. We can just send the reply to that, or we can adjust and then send it. So interesting thing about it is that I think this is reinforces. It's kind of you're helping this network to train based on your responses. If you click this send reply, that means that you like the response, and this gives kind of indication that this is something that you need to generate. By the way, similar things are usually available with ChatGPT, like thumbs up, thumbs down. You can also have it like there, and this is how it's implemented in Salesforce. Okay, next one is work summaries. We have seen other examples of summaries for sales, but here's for one other flavor of it for chats, right? So you could have a really long conversation in the chat, and then you may want to just create short outcome, what happened, what it's about, etc. So that may need for like some data tracking or like reporting reasons or like whatsoever. Okay. Next one is again about summarization, and now it's about field service. So imagine you're a field service agent and you need to go to the client and you have your application available and you don't have a lot of time to get to scroll all the list views, all the pages, to see what like, for example, if we take favorite example with solar panels, you don't have like time to go through all of what model they have installed, what they need to do, what are the tasks for today, like what's the customer, etc. You can just use one click, or it can be even generated automatically without any click. You can just scan through this snippet of text, and it will give you all what you need for this job to complete it and to be successful with it. Okay. Again, another summarization here. Now it's about the knowledge articles. Again, we worked on a case with the client. We have done some solution, and then we want to keep it for organization, for other agents, so that they can learn and spend less time on solving similar type of issue. Or we can expose this type of knowledge article for the customers on the portal, for example, and then they can just troubleshoot themselves and fix it without interacting with support. So yeah, knowledge article summaries can generate this type of page for you, and then you can just review it as needed and save and use in the organization. Okay, now moving on to the next one, which is marketing. And with marketing, it's a little bit more tricky. It's not really well-defined where it's going to be, because there are multiple different demos. And for example, here we can see on the background data cloud, and this is like previously, and I think still currently with data cloud, there is some other marketing offering which is different from what we used to see from Marketing Cloud or from Pardot. If any one of you have worked with it or seen it and has something to share, you're welcome. But for me, this is something new. So as a data platform, it will have it looks like it will have some capability to generate segments. And these segments, we are presented with an option to generate them with natural language as a prompt.
We have that in data. And it's in GA in the next year, and yeah, it's currently super limited. And what you are saying, you need a kind of also what you are saying, the system needs to understand it. So yeah, you are asking something in semantic way.
Mm-hmm.
So the field names, for instance, also need to be semantic.
Okay. Yeah, so there are such considerations then for this. But the idea is in general, we pretty much use natural language as you said, with some special names for the fields, for example, or for the columns, and then it's able to generate us segments which we can later use in the marketing sense, for example, activation of these segments. Now it's more similar. Now it looks like more like Pardot, I think, and it's a way. I think you have probably seen it as part of the World Tour demonstrations. It was really a lot demonstrated there. Some like you can use the natural language to generate text for the body, for example, or there was also example how you can generate images for the header for the brand, and this way you can compose an email like in shorter time than you would do it without the tool. Next one is segment intelligence. So I believe this is also part of the data cloud. I don't see here any use of the GPT. Rather, it's a more kind of intelligently built dashboards based on the data that we have, based on the segments that we have created before with the use of natural language. Moving on, yeah, someone. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought that someone said something. Okay, so commerce. Couple of things about commerce here. One of the elements one of the features that Salesforce provided for it is called goals-based commerce, and it is pretty much a guidance of for you what you need to do in order to reach your targets that you want. Right? It could be number of orders, or it could be average order value, and it gives you recommendations, as we can see on the right sidebar, like explore strategies to increase AOV, offload outdated product lines, improve margins, etc. So it provides some sort of guidance what we need to do. Yeah, not super clear like how is it using the GPT for me, but still it was announced, and this is part of the GPT offering, as Salesforce mentioned. Now this is next feature that is going to be available, which is called dynamic product description. So now it's more I can understand it better. How is it related to the GPT? It's about generating descriptions for the products. Imagine you have multilingual storefronts and you need to generate tens or hundreds or thousands descriptions. So you could use this feature to efficiently build it. Or even if you have a single storefront in English, you could save time by building it some descriptions faster. Another way of it could be you can have personalization. So you can have some segments of the customers that use your storefront, and then you want to, like, for example, for teenagers, you may want to have more like teenager-oriented descriptions, which are like using some different language, different tone. Hmm?
When you have a certain segment, you say you want to have the or just segment, so you know it's going to that.
No, it's just me thinking about it. I don't know if that's a feature or not, but
That's right. Feature does not sit in the partnership with you. It is nice to be part of the official roadmap. Okay. You never know what goes on next.
Yeah, but like in general, I think that should be the use case. At least I see it this way. Okay, for the commerce GPT, another use case is commerce concierge, and this is pretty much a chatbot which can allow you to your business collaborate with the customers with some natural language and then respond in an automated way. Okay, so now we talked a lot about the features, and we also talked a lot before about the considerations for security, for privacy, and for like how do we need to be compliant with regulations. So Salesforce obviously cares about it a lot, as one of the values of Salesforce is trust. It's one of the #1 values, as you all know. And let's see how it's getting addressed here. So this image, it demonstrates the flow, how these prompts are getting to the model, and then how they are returned. So we start from the CRM application. It could be sales, service, commerce, marketing, any of it. We generate a prompt, and then it is complemented with the data from your data cloud or from your just Salesforce instance. And then it's happening in a way that it is surrounded with the context about for example, the account. If you're, for example, sending to the content, it will grab contextual information about the account, other records which are related to this person, which is part of this dynamic grounding, so the context. Also, it will mask the data, so no names, no like specific details will be passed to the net. It will also go through the secure gateway, which is HTTPS and TLS encrypted channel. So it means like in transit, it will be secure. And then it comes to the model. So models could be different, could be Salesforce AI models, could be commercial models, could be your own models. As Salesforce mentions, you can bring your own models. There is a mention of zero retention. That means that your data will never be stored. So it's sent to the net, it's processed, then output is returned. Nothing is never stored. This is really helping a lot for the data privacy and data protection. So then generation is returned, and there are filters for toxicity. By the way, I think we have skipped it in the ethical element when we are thinking about this prompt injections, prompt manipulations. Like pretty much toxicity detection is something that filters down this kind of toxic responses. So Salesforce also takes care about that. And then also there is audit trail, which is important for the audit reasons, for any regulations that may come for your company, and like see what we were doing with these prompts, how they were generated, etc. So this is taken care of by Salesforce audit trail here. Okay, so as I have promised, something more about this emails capability. This is a prompt studio, and this will be used in combination with sales emails. And as you can see, there are multiple controls here, how we can build these email prompts. So one thing is like pretty much on this middle section, we are generating what will be sent to the net as a query, as a prompt. And then we can see on the playground some preview, and then we can see generated response. Also, there is indication of how harmful it is, if it is toxic or not toxic, and yeah, you can pretty much play around to see what it is generating to adjust your prompt that will be sent. Also on the right side, we can see controls for different things like language, model type, style, etc. So this is one of the nice screenshots that we have that we can understand how it will be set up and working. Now,
question about, for instance, the style, and does it also adds data from external sources? And you think maybe the style, I want, okay, the letter type, I want to have the Volkswagen letter type, for instance. Does this engine knows that, or does it?
No, I think this
only function based on Salesforce.
From Studio, you cannot configure that right now. I would say that would be very logical development for the future. I haven't seen it on the roadmap though. Right now, Prompt Studio does not allow you to incorporate that kind of outside information, to incorporate that in this module. That brings style now also mostly tone of voice, because it says casual, so it's more casual, formal.
yeah, like business.
Kind of your meaning, so you want your brand components, your brand awareness, all your brand, basically your brand policy. You want that included in. You could train your own model, include that in the bring your own model environment, that becomes your style and tone of voice of the brand that you're representing. That could be allowed. I haven't tried that though.
Yeah, so this is valid comments, I agree. So pretty much we can bring different types of models here. Like one of the models that you can bring is a Salesforce models. You can also get models from OpenAI, Anthropic, and Cohere, some of the popular commerce model vendors. And also you can bring your own from AWS hosting or from Google hosting.
Bring your own model is just these two that are supported right now, or
Yeah, so I saw only those. I didn't see any other options, though there is a tile which is called connect your own model. There are not many details about what it will be capable of, but yeah, like hopefully.
expectation is that they will develop more connectors, so then bring those
I think so. Yeah, I think so. This will be also the case, but I cannot tell like for Salesforce, but I would expect.
I know something about SageMaker. In AWS, it's a connector, so you can use the data from Data Cloud, and you can add that in your models within SageMaker. And then within SageMaker, there you have your model. Data Cloud can refer to the model in SageMaker, so then it's not copied. First, the data is copied to SageMaker, but the other way around is just referred.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting to know.
It's also integrated in the Salesforce Lightning interface.
You mean the input for the prompt, or?
That input, the model specifically, because you have to bring knowledge to the system that there is a model in SageMaker that they can use. So
Okay.
there needs to be a kind of referral. So okay, that is the model, there is it, this is the name, and this is SageMaker, but it's not copied, so it's just referring.
Okay. So there are some controls which allow you to more like selectively define which model you take from the SageMaker, right? Okay. Good. Yeah, that's it's good to know. Definitely from the bringing your own model. Yeah, like those two for sure, but maybe others as well. So let's see how it all develops. Now I want to talk more about Einstein for developers, and actually this is something really cool. So I have been playing around with this tool and also with Copilot from GitHub. Those tools are really capable of automating things a lot. So with just few words, you can build like trigger. For example, this is a roll up on a number of contacts for account, but it would take you several minutes, maybe tens of minutes to write it. But with this kind of tool, you can do it just in a few seconds.
What were your thoughts about the quality of the output?
What?
Quality of the output.
Yeah, I think it's decent for the like simple queries. For something complicated, you will still need to validate it or change it. But in general, this CodeGen.net is quite good one. And as you can see, this is available on Hugging Face also for open source use. So other people in the community they use it for other projects, not only for Salesforce capabilities. So yeah.
Do you know if there are any plans for JavaScript?
So I think I didn't try with. I think it's already capable of doing.
Or is it really?
Yeah, I think it's capable of generating other types of content as well, not only Apex. All right, so this is about Apex GPT and CodeGen, right? So same similar thing is available for. It's going to be available for Flow GPT, right? So we probably some of you have seen the demo of this image. On the right side, we can generate instructions for the flow, and then it builds it for us. So again, optimization for the developer work.
Is Flow GPT already GA?
I don't know, to be honest. I think I saw something about October. It was mentioned that October it will be available, but I didn't see it anywhere. So I'm not so sure about it. To be honest, it's better to check with account executives or with Salesforce latest information, but not so sure about this one, to be honest. Okay, with that,
See with these days that it doesn't follow the main releases. So with the GPT functionality, it seems to come out at any point in time.
yeah, at the same time also, like, I agree with that, but also like some of the features that we talked about, like for example, emails or summarization, they were delivered as part of winter release, winter 24.
Yeah, they are mentioned in the written, especially online. They took it up on the fact.
Okay, I didn't know that's the case. Okay, okay, okay. Good. Then another thing that I wanted to mention here is pricing and availability. Obviously, as a best practice, refer to your account executives that you work with to know the latest pricing. They know always the best. But this is what was mentioned in the article on Salesforce website. Originally, these tools will be available for unlimited edition. We had a conversation with Kit recently about it, that now for enterprise also they like you can get it. But what you will like when you will get it, pretty much you need to have a Sales and Service Cloud Einstein, and also you will get it as a limited set of Einstein credits. As I understand, there was not many details about it, but as I understand it, every time you use the prompt, you will be consuming these credits, and then you can buy enterprise expansion packs to get more credits available. So yeah. Cost is also a consideration here when we are thinking about implementing it. Okay, and probably the last entering the last section in this presentation is integrating with third-party Gen AI. So how is it done? I'm referring here to one of the YouTube videos done by Jitendra at Apex Hours. It's a really interesting one, and you can get all the code that he was doing there. It's pretty straightforward. There is a just Lightning Web component which you write the query to. Then there is Apex class which issues the HTTP request to the OpenAI server. Then OpenAI server responds back with the output. Then we display it on the Lightning Web component. It's really straightforward, but like any other, like similar to any other API integration, just now with OpenAI. So it's, I would say, nothing really new here, but if you need the code to reuse it somewhere or to build some demo quickly, if you want like some custom use case, you can use it. Also, the same type of thing you can use, but from Salesforce. I was trying to find any scratch work or maybe dev work to play around with one of these tools like that we have talked about, but had no luck with it. But still, I was able to find something that Salesforce published. There is a website called Platform Demos, and there is a GPT in Salesforce component which Salesforce published. Those two people on the right side, those are Salesforce in-house team members. So what they have developed is pretty much a button on a task, which can take description, other fields from the task, pass it as a parameters as a body of the request to ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT responds back with a summary, and we display it in the pop-up. Really straightforward, but for like good for some demos. If you need something really quickly, it could be installed with one click. There is a button. I don't know if you can see it on the top, like deploy to your org. Really, in seconds you can get it.
Does this also then uses credits, or is it separate?
No, it's just separate. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for today. There is a QR code for the slides and materials. I have also included some of the links.
I don't trust 100% the results generated by the chat GPT. So can we trust the results generated by the AI used by Salesforce here?
No, it's the same. I mean, it could provide better results. So there are not many details on what are the models behind it, right? And so we don't know how good they will be in providing the outputs. You always need to be treating this as an assistant rather than source of 100% truth. So similar with ChatGPT, with any model, it's always something that you need to double check and fact check.
And what do you think the main challenges to have like human level understanding? So it can provide like the results as as accurate as possible.
So it's,
Sorry.
yeah.
Well, it's a very advanced question, right? The technology is relatively new. It's only been since a couple of months truly that the technology is being used by various peoples, various organizations. This is a question that goes about the maturity of the technology. I think it's a good question, right? But it's about what do we use the technology for right now? Right now, it's that it's a bit further. Let's treat it as an intern. You see it as an intern. It's a really smart intern. Use it as an intern. Don't use it as the CEO of the company who's allowed to make on its own.
Yeah, but here the logic is that there is question by customer. An agent, for example, needs to check the answer that is provided by chat, by GPT.
I think it's more about the use case. Will the service agents be able to do their work faster? The promise of Salesforce is yes. What I've seen my clients be use technology so far of the data. In some cases, we see that agents are actually able to use faster. In some cases, we've seen that it takes them a lot of time to figure out why this technology came up with the server. So for a lot of frequently asked questions where it's quite straightforward, or things like returns of a product, questions like that. That's pretty straightforward stuff. But let's imagine my watch gets broken and it's out. It's illegal today. What are you supposed to do? You can add customers who are very good customers with very high value. Your documentation is saying, no, I cannot replace it. But actually, the business decision will be replace it first, because then they will stick around and stay to be a growing customer. And that's where the more challenging use case. But it also comes down to what is the business value that you're solving now that it's 70% already solved versus that last X amount of percent that keeps that. So it's always right. So far.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, good comment. I agree, 100%.
I wanted to ask about I'm kind of getting the same feeling that they did with Genie and CDP as data cloud. That now they announced Einstein one as a platform. All the GPTs like they had on product level. So in my mind, I'm not able to fit it correctly, like where exactly Einstein one would be fitting as a platform, and how does the whole thing come into one picture?
Okay, so as I understand it, it's more of a marketing term, like they are describing this as something unified, but as I understand it, it is rather add-ons to specific clouds. So something will be available for data cloud, something for sales, something for service. This would be the case, I think.
So it's not going to be a product on its own where people have to buy.
No, I think so not.
Thank you.
But there is one thing probably this goes with the same comment that the reliability of the suggestion or the prescription is not there. And if you go back to the security layer, the GPT, this thing. So if you see in here, now what you really need to think is that we are working with a premium model that you are allowed to use a couple of prompts, which is going to be free of cost. If you are consuming more than that, you have to go $50 per user per month. But the toxic detection or the reliability of the suggestion which is coming from GPT is still not there. And how that is being calculated, that I put a prompt, I do not get a satisfactory answer, but I'm consuming all the premium thing which is here. How I'm going to do that? So reliability of that thing is still questionable.
So I didn't know about this this aspect that it's kind of not enabling this toxic. How do you
What I'm interpreting is that toxic detection is filtering out the actually increasing the reliability of the answer what I'm getting.
Yes.
That is what my understanding.
Yes,
But
correct.
at the end of the day, humans are going to make a decision. That if the suggestion or the prescription what I'm getting from GPT, that is reliable, yes. But if he says that this is not reliable and consuming all of the premium prompts, whatever given to me, how I'm going to make a judgment that should I go with for a stable model or should I stick to the premium model itself?
It's called vendor lock-in.
Yeah,
So Jamie,
I totally agree with you.
there isn't a proper answer from Salesforce how to guide this.
Yeah.
Ultimately it comes down, right? If you implement this for your clients, I think it's also your responsibility to help your clients understand what is the cost of the credits you're going to be using. It's a lot. So truly calculate what is the API usage that's going through every prompt.
Indeed, and the problem which we as a company were dealing with is that we are working with the call centers. And if you have been to call centers, like people come, people go. The college graduates, they want to make some money and they start with their, if any answer which is coming from GPT, okay, send it to customer, doesn't matter to me. So it's very, very dicey. Now, the question to the management is, should I invest in $50 per user per month? Or should I hire extra personnel because I'm getting extra load?
It's more than just, it's more than.
It's very hard to make a business case.
No, but that's difficult with.
Yeah, so AI is still not the answer for that. So that's where we are studying at how we can make a decision that what should we do? Should we go with the AI? Should we implement that? Should we increase the reliability on the system itself? Or should we hire people? Because at the end of the day, people are going to make a better decision.
That's difficult now with current state. It's an AI generative. Difficult to make a business case. And how the more complex your question is, the more difficult it is to drive from data what your business case is, and to make a estimate of what's the investment something like. But as to what's the revenue. Yeah. That's one of the that's why also you see when you stick to the that's called simple stuff, you have more data available, it's more reliable. You can train, and that's the way how it evolves.
So my take on this is I think it is more applicable for larger organizations, and then this cost will be more justifiable when you have thousands of these sales reps. Maybe if you increase efficiency of them like 1%, then you will be saving a lot of time because they will be focusing on more things. For smaller things, I don't know how to accurately give answer. Like it's case by case. We need to see.
Because I was also thinking about your multi-model strategy, that how that's going to be, and this is something which I was talking to you, where now, okay, to train an AI model, I really need data. Unless until I'm getting large amount of data, my AI model is not going to be right. When I'm talking about multi-model strategy, what it means is that the cases, which is like huge in numbers for big companies, so taking your example, huge companies, like I'm getting 100,000 cases per month. That is where I'll be able to generate that kind of data where my model is going to be trained. And what about the cases which is very peculiar? That is where AI does not come to the picture. I still need to rely on the human intervention rather than automating. That's what my perspective of the multi-model is. And even if I slice it down further, that I have like 10 steps, but 6 steps are very, very common in all of the cases. Can I plug in those? Can I do that? That is something which I'm also thinking about. Like I have like rare scenario. I'm taking your example, the watch thing. What is it? Like I have to send the information to my repair department. That is something which I can still automate. Can I take that one single piece from the multi-model and plug it in there so that my automation is still there? There is a human intervention and AI also comes into the picture.
Yeah, definitely. So you can train it in a way that it understands, you can train it in a way to solve specific tasks. For example, you may want it to be only solving for frequent and repetitive tasks. I forgot my password. I don't know what product is about. This you can automate easily and there is no risk. But for the others, like when you need to decide, you may want still to have it as user solves this.
So in that case, your solution would be, if I interpret it right, rather than going with Salesforce, going something somewhere else and go with a custom model.
It needs I would not
At the
say.
current situation.
No, I cannot say that. I mean, it really depends on the case. So with Salesforce, we need to see. I think if like there is a customer request, like we want to make a decision if we need to buy or not, then maybe more in depth or more prolonged period of testing can be allocated, or Salesforce maybe answer all of these questions. How reliable is this? Provide information about what are the benchmarks it is given, and then also the cost. So you need to project on that and pretty much compare what would be the cost, because it's also like, even if you want to build a smaller model, you still need someone to create it, maintain it. It's all something like it's not easy to kind of say what is better. It always depends what.
Plus, you can also combine modeling strategies. So I'm not sure where I saw it, but Savio a while back, where they used the multi-model with the small models that you train yourself, combined with more generic models like ChatGPT, so that you can make like sort of routing mechanism. Like, okay, if it fits the, let's say 80% standard use cases, you can do it with your trained specific models fit for the generic cases that are very common to your business. And the 20% that really differs from that, you can route it through something like ChatGPT that's far more generic, far more comprehensive understanding of all different kinds of use cases. And then you're probably still left with like 3-4% of ChatGPT can't solve either, and that can be done by a person. So that's one strategy. And I also saw this with, for instance, model combinations, where Midjourney is an image generator, but you generate the prompts for Midjourney with ChatGPT, because ChatGPT already understood Midjourney better than people understood Midjourney. So it was better in generating prompts for Midjourney by explaining to ChatGPT what you want on the image, and it would understand the entire syntax and all the options in Midjourney on how to best generate a prompt to get that image.
Yeah, you can fine tune it in a way that it understands what you want to get, and then it creates the entire prompt for the external next system. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can also use generative AI from one model to feed the next model, and not just with the outputs, but really the prompt itself.
So just to add this point, like about the accuracy, so you gave, like prior to break, you gave example of automating email response, correct?
Yeah.
So let's say there is a business requirement in Service Cloud GPT where we have to automate the response. Okay, so customer send email in French. So based on that, we will translate it in English. But the original sentiment of the email was positive, but due to translation, it translated into negative sentiment, and based on the negative sentiment, it sent a negative response. So is there any fail-safe check, before sending any response?
Yeah, I mean, you could do the sentiment analysis in the source language, right? So you could just pretty much train it in a way that it classifies it as well.
But for not all language, there will be.
Yeah, of course. Like it's mostly trained on English, so it will be less accurate. So, yeah, that's.
But that's there. I mean, Grammarly, I use it, and it also works within the AI space. So it senses that you do have like what kind of, if it's professional, you're happy, you're convinced, you are trying to pass it. So I think probably that, I'm not sure which model they are using. Do you know?
Some generative one. I mean, I know which one exactly, but definitely some LLM with generative capabilities.
Thanks for the presentation, Slava. A practical question about the role of data clouds in the Einstein GPT. I understood that for marketing applications, it's pretty much mandatory to have data cloud as data for the work. Here in this image, you have data cloud and external data as the source. But can you still use like native for cloud data to process the response?
Yeah, so my understanding is that it can take it from not only data cloud and not internal sources, but also from the standard account contact objects that we use to opportunities, like quotes, whatever. I think it's capable of that, especially for sales service. We have seen examples for the cases. Definitely, cases are just standard objects, not must for data cloud. So.
Questions? Yeah. We're talking about the quality of the models. Of course, the data set volume is very important, but it's not everything. And of course, train the model, but how can we identify good quality in a model? Is there any kind of analyzer or is just test, try?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Oh yeah, so pretty much when you are training the model, you have always a training set and you have validation set. So like you can compare the accuracy, how good it is at predicting what you are training it on, and yeah, this could be one of the parameters. Also, there are some benchmark tests which could be used, like open source. Like if we look at the open source community at Hugging Face, for example, yeah, there are like multiple criteria how people are measuring this models. So this parameters could be used.
Adoption model, where would you put data quality?
So,
Sorry, sorry. In an adoption model, where would you put the data quality?
So I think it should be on the level of the strategy, right, and defining the policy. So it's actually a separate domain. Before we go into the AI strategy, we need to think of data strategy. So it's entire discipline, how you need to organize your data, clean it, deduplicate it, make sure all the validations are in place. So I would say it's kind of prerequisite even almost for the AI. But if it's not done, then one of the first elements in this Gen AI strategy should be there, like ground layer, one of the foundational layers.
And is there or will there be any way that when we insert data to train the model, there's going to be some kind of puzzle going on, the quality is better?
No, I don't think so. Like when you're training the model, it's pretty much up to you. You are like, it's your responsibility or the people who are preparing the data to do it. So it will not do it for you. It will just take it as, yeah.
Can I ask one on the XTP?
Yeah.
Oh. So I wanted to understand, like, if CodeGen has like predefined, does it take the context of current off, or like it only works based on the LLM that it was trained? Let's say, for example, I have something, I'm using FFLab for my own arc. So if I'm asking the CodeGen to generate something, will it understand that what I'm using correctly? Or let's say I'm using some trigger patterns as well. So will it generate based on that, or I'll have to take the sample code and do the restructuring myself?
So I think it works in a way that it will give you some more recommendations, like maybe auto-completion of some of the words or some of the things that when you write is one thing. And if you want to kind of pass to it example, like something, here's my context, write me a new method, which is doing ABC, then I think it would expect you to put it in the prompt itself. At least with Copilot, didn't try this with this one, but with Copilot, it requires you to do so. So it's not understanding. So with CodeGen, I cannot tell for sure, but I think that it's working the same way.
Okay. And now the reverse case, if I want to commit, like I have a bad code or legacy code in my file, and I don't want CodeGen to refer that one because like then it would exactly become the sort of enemy that we were trying to avoid. So in that case, if I want to emit a class from CodeGen that I could take this class as an example, use your like normal LLM, use the common best practices. So is there any option to ignore something, or it will once it scans the whole article use all the good and bad?
No, I don't think it's scanning. I may be wrong. If anyone has, no, it's not right.
Yeah, so part is not scanning your work, so it's based on what they trained to be best practices. So it also means it's not tailored to your specific work. That also means all of the Let's go with the special use case, we all build in our work, right on there.
There is one product like Apex Guru, which they released, after Salesforce. I think that have that capability, but it actually assess good quality and also, give you the, indication where it's not followed the best practices.
How is it called?
Apex Guru.
Okay.
I think if you're using this to generate the code, so they're asking to refactor your code as well. Then you don't have to worry about your problems.
Next question.
Perhaps one
Yeah.
of this code gen example. If you use this to write test classes, what does it use as a basis here, current code, or do you specify somewhere what you want to have tested? Because if you use your code, it might give you wrong tests.
No, I think it's opposite. Why would it give you wrong? I think if you just pass in the prompt your code, then it will understand what you're trying to achieve. So it's pretty much in the prompt. You can say like, write me unit test for this method. You pass the method as a text in the prompt, and then
you will pass your own IP or your client's IP or your employer's IP into a tool that will ingest it and not forget it. So you are losing the IP, but you have your own work. That becomes public knowledge.
no, I think in this case it's not kind of ingesting it. It's more like this type of, as we saw, like zero retention type of thingy. So
it also applies for the plugins in the VS Code.
yeah, I think it's universal across all of these tools, and also like with the other nets, it's usually like that. So it's not getting trained when you're sending the request to it. It's not training with that data. It just provides you with the response.
But I think you can also do it combined, because I think that's neat as well. Like you can say, write me a trigger or an Apex class for the business function together with the test code. Because if you do it as two separate prompts, like first do your business case, like I want to have a business case for this, write me Apex class that does that, and then resubmit the output of that. So the functional class has write me unit test for this. Then you use your business context. You kind of get a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy that your test code will always pass for that class, because it ignores the business context, ignores the acceptance criteria, and just tries to create a test class that always fulfills that code.
Yeah, that's probably even a better idea indeed. Yeah.